All right, there we go. I have the camera the right way. So I want to pick up where I left off whenever it was on Thursday. I don't know if anybody's been following, but I have been kind of going through the story of 18 years in this industry and being in this business. And, I went through starting in traditional MLM. I went through, doing friends and family, hot market. I went through, meeting the right people and how I got access. Hello, Angel. Hello, everybody. How I got access to the right people and the big players. I went through how I started to discover marketing and attraction marketing. Hey, everyone. I went through the first courses I bought. I went through my early mentors and how much they changed my life. Hey, Alan. Hey, Michael. Went through, and guys, if I don't say hi, it's not because I don't want to say hi. It's because people always complain that if you don't get right down to business, the whole, beginning is like, hi, 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 hi. So we'll interact as we go, but I want to get into it because today, so we went through how I met the mentor that made the biggest impact in my life. I've had a couple people, by the way, ask me, where have you been? You've been so quiet. It's because I was so loud last week. I took the weekend off. I took the weekend off. So I'm back. It's Monday. So if you weren't on, I told the story about how I met my mentor, Joe Schroeder, and how we talked on the phone and how we hit it off. And then we didn't talk for a month. And then he called back another day, a month later, and how we just started talking and we became fast friends. We just hit it off. We just understood each other. And I just kind of wanted to hang out and work with him. Now, this guy was like, well, if you know who Mike Dillard is, then he was the Mike Dillard of the 90s. Who today, if you know who Ray Higdon is, he's the Ray Higdon of the 90s, okay? And so here's what happened. I met him in August. We reconnected in September, and we were working on some stuff, and he decided that he went, I took my hair out of a ponytail. It looks disgusting, but maybe I'll have a troll again come tell me how ugly I look. I liked when he did that the other day. So, hello, Lisa. So he decided that he was going to put together kind of a biz op site. And we built it out. I helped him build it. I actually helped him interface with the software company and all this other stuff. And a lot of really big internet players, including Mike Dillard and many others that you guys probably aren't familiar with, all came around. And they were all on board and they were all ready to play. And Joe was very well known, and in fact, he was idolized by a lot of people. Me, I was just like a housewife helping him out. And he invited me to an event. And, oh yeah, Jenny, go back a couple videos and you'll see some troll came on really mean to me, super mean, and I told them off, and it was fun. So go watch the video, and I just told them off, so it was good. So he invited me to come to New Jersey to meet him for the first time and to come to a dinner with all these big internet dudes, okay? One bigger than the next, okay? All these big internet dudes. And he told me that one of the girls that he always worked with, though I knew her name, would be there. So I felt, okay, fine, I'm going to go. And I'm going to drive down to Jersey. Why is it that my clients, every time I go live, pop up? Do they not realize I go live and maybe they don't get the notification? It's like every single time I go live, my clients start popping up with questions. Clients, come watch me go live. It's important stuff. So I decided I was scared poopless. Okay, guys, I was a housewife. I had been selling diet pills, started helping this guy build this website. I didn't even know what I was doing. He challenged me and asked me, he said, I'll do a conference call for you. Go put people on a conference line. And he thought I could get like 2 or 3 people. And I put 50 people on the conference line. And he was like, holy cow, this girl's got chops. How did she do it? He invited me down to Jersey to come to the big meeting. So I get down there. I'll never forget. Route 46, Fairfield, New Jersey. Or Route 23, one of them. And he meets me. We hang out. We talk. And then everybody starts showing up. We go over to the restaurant, and one by one, I start to realize there's no women coming, there's nobody but internet guru-y types, and I don't even know what my role is there. I don't even know what I'm going to do there. Now, have you guys ever done that? Have you ever been invited into the inner sanctum of somebody that you know is ahead of you? Been invited to a party, or maybe been invited to something, or you're hanging out at the bar after an event with some people that you know are really good marketers. And that's what it was like. And I was scared, and I sat there and I didn't know what to say. Quite frankly, we sat down and we had drinks and we had appetizers. And then at one point, Joe was talking to the guys, and he basically said, Hochman, tell him about whatever we were talking about. And the next thing I know, I shared a vision or an idea for something. And all of a sudden, all these guys wanted to talk to me. And that was the first time I realized that maybe I had a clue. And that was life-changing. Hi, Iffy. Maybe I had a clue. And if you haven't gotten to that place in your career yet, the secret is to hang out with more people, do more lives, do more content, etc., and keep talking about what you've learned, and keep learning, obviously. I had done a lot of studying about stuff before I got to this table. And that night, which is about October 2015. It was October. It was like October 20 something. That night tilted my world forever, because all of a sudden I knew that if I wanted to, I could become a world-class marketer. And I remember driving home, and this will sound goofy, but it's the gosh darn truth. I remember driving home and coming up the New Jersey Turnpike, not the New Jersey Turnpike, the Garden State Parkway, and getting to the top of the Garden State Parkway where you come back into New York, for those of you that know it, in Rockland County. And it was fall, and the last of the leaves were there, and it was a beautiful day. And I remember crying, because I knew this was my shot, because I knew that this was my moment. This was my chance. I finally was going to go where I wanted to go. Now, little did I know that it wasn't even the big shot that was coming soon after. But I buckled up. I started working with these guys, put together the site and everything. And I realized very quickly that the technology had changed, and Joe was still trying to use old technology. And old software, and the new guys who were very, very internet savvy. And remember, Joe was the first person to have an affiliate program in this industry. Joe was the first guy to sell info products. Him and Robert Blackman were the first guys to sell info products. Today, we sell info products on the front end all the time. Today, we don't think twice about a funded proposal. Today, we don't think twice about, doing this type of stuff. But back then, nobody was doing it. It was groundbreaking. It was revolutionary. You couldn't talk about anything but your product in your program. It was like sacrilegious to do that. And there were these guys doing it, and he went to build a new program, a new site, and he was using old technology that was from the 90s that was still hanging around, but we were already at 2005, and he was promptly rejected by the guys that he thought were going to build this. And I thought it was terrible. I remember being so offended. I can't believe it. This guy changed their lives. This guy did this, and they're just like leaving him high and dry. But that's also when I learned that business is business, guys. If they couldn't use the site, and if the site wouldn't do what it needed to do, and it wasn't going to convert, these were internet guys. There was nothing more to say. And those guys leaving was actually the biggest blessing I was ever going to experience, because when they left, when this thing failed very quickly, it failed, within 90 days, the whole thing was put together, started running. There's probably like 6 people on earth that remembered that this thing even went on. And I had no background with this. I came from a huge a conglomerate MLM. I came from a multinational, huge company. So for me, in this little rinky-dink operation, was weird. But what happened is, when the guys left, I said to Joe, Joe, the reason why I always loved your content was never because it was slick marketing. And it was never because of how much money I made with it. And it was never because of all of that stuff. It was because of the way you made me feel when you talked on those tapes. It was because of the personal development aspect that was, hello, Larry Thompson. Hello, Robert Bennett. It was the personal development aspect that was woven into the marketing. It was so I started to notice that when you altered people's states, when you made them feel like more, when you made them feel more confident, more competent, larger as a human being, they responded. And we threw out the, kind of hypey money game program, and we turned that into something called the Million Mind March. And I have some gifts for you guys and some recordings and some magical stuff from back then. To this day, the legacy of the Million Mind March lives on in a ton of marketers, including a lot of you guys know Sean Johnson was there, Keisha Bass was there. Tons of us are still, Tracy Housel was there. Tons of us were products of this environment. And what it was Joe's books and tapes. He stopped writing about how to get rich quick in your underwear, and he started writing about how to become more, how to be more, how to influence people, the stuff that was near and dear to my heart. And we would sell his books and tapes, and we had a mastermind, and we had events, and we'd go to Jersey and get a hotel meeting room, and we had events pretty much every 6 weeks. And a lot of people came out of that environment, came out of that place, and we ran that thing for 6 incredible years. And during those years, I earned my chops. During those years, I was mentored and, quite frankly, brutally beaten verbally in so many different ways. Because that high school teacher that you just really hated at the time, but you realized how well they prepared them? That was Joe to me. He was just brutal. I always thought he was rough, and he was rough on people, and he was rough on me, and he was eccentric, and he was all these things. And what he was doing was preparing me to look at things from a completely different perspective. He was preparing me to receive money. That's the problem that most people in this industry have, is they're not comfortable with receiving money. They're comfortable spending it. They're not comfortable receiving money. And so 6 years, I learned how to run conference calls. I told you guys last time. If you missed it, go check my wall. The recordings are there. I learned how to do conference calls. Guys, I did conference calls 4 nights a week, over and over and over and over, until I could do them in my sleep. You've heard, if you've been getting my gifts, if you're on my newsletter, you've been getting my gifts. Those calls, those recordings that you're hearing from that time period, those were not rehearsed. That just started flying out of me. Steve Montgomery, what are you doing up so late? It's late at night. Go to bed. I'm kidding. Good to see you. Getting to the point where you're speaking from your heart and your gut. There's 3 places you can speak from: your head, your heart, and your gut, right? Head, heart, and gut. And if you're speaking from your head, you're generally going to struggle to influence people. Okay, if you're speaking from your head, because you're thinking. And the same thing, guys, think about dating. If the dude is like practicing or trying to talk to you in a certain way, the chances of him getting the date with you, ladies, is not that big. Okay, and the reason why is because you can feel there's an awkwardness to it. The only way to move from awkwardness to ease and flow is practice and execution. And then you can come from the heart, right? From the heart, the love of this industry, of this profession, of the people that you're working with. And then you can come from the gut, where you're just kind of like, telling people, get with it, get to the program. So getting to that point, getting to that level without practice, and the practice has to come of your own volition. A lot of people are waiting, when they hire me as a client or become students in some capacity, or they work with me in the different programs I work with, they're waiting for me to tell them to do something. See, I never waited for Joe to tell me to do something. I went and did it, and then I waited for him to correct me, to refine me, to sculpt me, to be the potter and put me on the wheel and then fire me. That's the way I always looked at it. So if I decided I was going to do some calls, I went and did calls. When webinars came out, I went and did webinars. I did webinars like nobody's business. We used to call them webinars gone wild because I would always break them. They would blow up. People used to come just to see if I screwed up on the webinar. I would blow the things up in the middle, but I did them over and over and over until they became second nature. Second nature. If you want to get good, you have to do. If you want to get good, you have to get guidance. And you have to have somebody that's interested in you enough that's going to actually correct you, that's going to have enough time to look at what you're doing, to listen to what you're doing. Two ways to do that is either to hire someone and pay them enough money to pay attention to you, or to be affiliated in business with them where they have a financial interest in that. So in my case, Joe had a huge financial interest in what I was doing because I was bringing in his business. In the beginning, it was a small percentage. By the end, it was a very large percentage. So he had an incredible interest in teaching me and training me and giving me moves and giving me new ways to execute, right? Angles, thought processes, simply because I was bringing in the bulk of the business at his company. I was the main spokesperson at his company. So here's what went on. And remember, what you do today prepares you for an opportunity that's coming tomorrow. And your ability to take the opportunity's coming. It's always coming. There's always opportunity every day. The question is, are you prepared to take advantage of the opportunity? Okay, are you prepared to take advantage of the opportunity? So in 2005, I was hanging out with Joe and working. We did all these conference calls. We did work. We did a lot of calls. 2006 comes around, and then the beginning of 2007. And my friend Jerry Whip, who I will put up a picture of and hug him and kiss him, call him George, and tell you all how much I love him. Jerry was the one, you might have heard me tell the story before. Jerry said, Diane, you need to have a vlog. And I was like, what the hell is a vlog? Is it like a Halloween thing? Is it vampires? What is a vlog? And Jerry said, it's video. It's a site called YouTube. It's the new thing. Now, guys, at this point, we have MySpace, and I'm actually capitalizing on MySpace. I'm networking my way across the industry. I made it my goal, and people always go, I don't get why you do what you do. My goal was to meet every single person in the home business industry. Not to sell them, not to get them, not to convince them. There's a M3 alumni right there, Edward Elliott, up in London, Ontario. My goal was to meet everybody, and MySpace was the first place that you could access large groups of people. You could see who was running with who. You could see who was affiliated with who. You could watch this whole industry. All of a sudden, you could see everything. Before, you had to search and you know, you couldn't see anything, and all of a sudden you could see it all. And then YouTube came out, and Jerry bugged me, and I said, okay, I'll make a video. And I bought a video camera, okay? And you were able to put some video around, but at that point, not everybody had high-speed internet. It really wasn't extremely viable. And it was just hitting critical mass when I did it. And I set up my camera, recorded my video, tried to upload it. I swore to myself, and you guys might want to make a note of this tidbit. I swore to myself I wouldn't go to bed until my video was on YouTube. I swore to myself. I do this all the time, by the way. When I get to the point where something has to happen, I just go, okay, you're just sitting here and you're not going anywhere and you're not doing anything else until this thing is done. Period, over and out. When it gets important. A lot of times I set things on the back burner all the time. I'm like, I'll learn that later. I'll learn that ManyChat. I'll learn that later. This, I'll learn that later. This, I'll learn that later. But when something's critical or important, I force myself to do it. So I stayed up literally all night trying to get this video onto YouTube. I didn't know that there was a time limit at the time. The time limit on YouTube videos was 10 minutes. My video was like 10 minutes and 19 seconds. Back then, we didn't have the bandwidth that we have today. We didn't have all the things we had today. So I couldn't figure out why I couldn't get it to upload. Tried it over and over and over and over and over. Left Jerry a message, an email or whatever to call me when he got up. And in the meantime, I uploaded it to MySpace because at least I felt okay if I had uploaded a video somewhere. I found out in the morning the reason why it wouldn't work was simply because of the length of the video. Now, here's what happened. I was one of the only people that were making videos in this industry on the internet. If I hadn't done all of those conference calls, if I hadn't done the work when the opportunity of video came, hi Judy, I wouldn't have been prepared. I couldn't have taken advantage of it. And therefore, I wouldn't have scored like I did. I was literally getting thousands and thousands and thousands of views. My phone was ringing off the hook. By the time I did 5, 6, 7 videos, I had network marketing legends calling, and they'd show up on my caller ID, and I'd be like, holy crap, because they wanted to learn what I was doing it and how I was doing it. This was the communication revolution. Hi, Marty. Hi, Bubby. This was a change in everything. And they told us that in the future, most of the content on the internet would become video, and I didn't believe it. I thought that was not possible. Well, now go look at Facebook, guys. Go through your feed. What percentage of the content is video? It's here. And for whatever reason, in 2007, I decided to grab the brass ring. And it was interesting because what happened is all of a sudden I became, and this is not ego, I'm just telling the story. Maybe somebody else will tell the story different, including Joe. I don't know. But I became more famous than my teacher, who was pretty famous. I became more famous than my teacher very rapidly. And it was a weird place. And I teach about this a lot. If you're in My Lead System Pro, there's trainings in there about it. What happened was I became a personality because of my use of a new medium very fast, but I wasn't quite an expert professional like my mentor was. And I had a choice at that moment. I could let my ego run away with me, and I could have ran off, and I could have decided I knew more, or I could sit still and listen and try to make sure that I kept the mentor teaching me, because I needed his guidance now. Another M3er just showed up, Jason Nagel. I needed his guidance then more than ever, right? All of a sudden I became famous on the internet, but I didn't really know what I was doing to a great extent. I didn't know how to manage the numbers of people. I didn't know how to manage my emails the way I do today. I didn't know a lot of stuff. And the question comes, do I let my ego run away, or do I stay put? Danger zone, danger zone. And I see that all the time. People make it. They're in the right place at the right time in the right program. They start making a lot of money, and they decide they know. And they learn very quickly that they don't know what they think they know. And when you see somebody go up the flagpole and down the flagpole, that's usually why. So we went on, for numerous years. We did these workshops that were incredible. They were magical. I still have some video from some of them that I don't share with anybody. I still have, I don't know how many hours of conference calls. Jason, who's here, probably has more hours than me, but I have quite a few hours of magical conference calls. And eventually things changed. And things changed. Joe was not able to continue to come out and teach and do the events. I was getting ready to, move to other things. Things were calling me. And here's the most important thing that my mentor taught me. And I teach my students, even though I think most of them don't realize what I'm giving them. And I certainly didn't understand what he was giving me. He taught me how to fly. He prepared me from the beginning because he knew I had something. He prepared me for when the day would come when it would be time to go. Now, I never expected it to happen the way it did, and that's a story for another day that, if I see you at an event, maybe over a glass of wine, I'll tell you the whole story. You don't need to know the whole story. What you need to know is that it was time to fly. And this was, I want to say 2011. So one crazy night, after Joe was not really able to continue and wasn't going to continue, I had no choice. I had to earn a living. I had to figure out something to do. I sat down at my computer. I did the thing that I didn't want to do, which was I joined another network marketing company, and I wrote a crazy letter to a young guy named Brian Finale and told him why he should put me on the stage at his upcoming event. And this was after having come off of speaking at the No Excuses Summit just a few months before. And in that moment, I did the same thing that I did on an October day in 2005. I rolled the dice. I rolled the dice. I decided to take my shot. And I decided to just go for it. Because to me, there's nothing worse than sitting in complacency. There's nothing worse than just hanging around and you know, I don't even know how to describe it. There's a time and a place where you know it's time to move forward in your career. And those were the windows. Those were the windows as I progressed forward. And that window took my career to a whole nother level and exploded my income dramatically, because I went from a fairly small contained environment, right? At any given time, there were only a couple hundred people in that group, to a massive environment and a massive market. And that's the window that I was waiting for, looking for. I knew I was there, but I was afraid of. And then I just decided to jump. So next time I will fill you guys in on the I don't even know what you want to call it. I don't know, the Queen of Attraction Marketing stage, and how I got there and why they called me that and why I don't call myself that, why I don't carry around my own tiaras, but people often give them to me, how all of that happened. But for now, if you haven't joined my newsletter, just direct message me your email address. I've already sent out 4 of my favorite trainings. I'm sending out 18 for my 18 years. That's what we're doing now. It's my 18th anniversary in this home business industry. And I am going to send out 18 trainings all together. So send me email address, or tell your friends or whoever you want to send over their email address. And I'm going to send out some classic trainings. I promised the other day, and I'll send out a few more, some classic trainings with me and my mentor. I think when you hear, and by the way, I have not released these. I have not given any of these trainings out, except for one. A small group of people has one, but nobody's heard these trainings since 2010, 2011. Nobody's heard any of this in years on end. So definitely a treat. And in fact, I had several 7-figure marketers message me wanting these audios. So I just want you guys to know, I mean, this is the guy that created attraction marketing. What everybody works on now today, this is the guy that created it. This is the guy that fashioned it. This is the guy that Mike Dillard modeled. Mike Dillard modeled magnetic sponsoring off of 2 people mainly, which was Joe Schroeder and Dan Kennedy's concepts. This is the guy who started everything that we know today. It didn't exist. He coined the terms. He created it all. And this is the guy that tutored me for 6 years and still continues to today. He sent me a message earlier today. And this is a person that you're not going to get access to. You're going to have to get it through me and some of his other students, or not get it at all, because I don't foresee him coming back out. This is the guy that is, behind my Guru Code course. This is the guy who's behind a lot of the stuff I teach, the Deep Abyss. The Deep Abyss was named in honor of him. And I can't tell you how many people were impacted by this particular person who has chosen. He prepared me. He knew he was going to leave. He told me when we started, someday my name will be but a whisper. It'll be you and others carrying forth the message. And I take that extremely seriously. So send me your email if you want to get these trainings. Let anybody else who wants to know. I'm going to send them out tonight. I'm going to actually write the letter now and get a couple of them out to you guys. And I have a lot of stuff going on. I have some big campaigns going on. I've just committed to be an instructor at a marketing school, so I'm super excited. This, my friends, is another one of those windows where I had to sit and I had to pray and I had to decide whether I'm going to jump or not. And I am, in fact, jumping. 18th anniversary, it's time to jump again. It's time to spread my wings. It's time to fly and take it to a whole nother level. So that's what's going on tonight. I will see all of you. Feel free to share this video with anybody that you think will gain from it. And I'm trying to give you all these lessons. These are the things that nobody talks about. These are the things that nobody shares. Everybody's busy trying to learn an internet marketing technique, and I'm trying to teach you how to gain a mentor that will change your life. I'm trying to teach you how to learn from a mentor that can change your life. I'm trying to teach you how to stop chasing money and start chasing wisdom, for wisdom is more valuable than rubies or gold. It's in Proverbs. I'm trying to show you that if you would sit still and learn from a teacher who has what you want for some period of time, you will have what you want forever. It's magical stuff, and that's what he taught me, and that's what he gave me, and that's what I'm trying to give to a few people. It is a legacy that we are creating in this space, and we're also creating I don't know. If you look around and you look at the average marketer, they're working on such a low level, of rudimentary level, and you have a choice to make a statement, to leave a legacy, to leave a body of work, to mean something to someone, to impact people. That's what I'm about. That's what Joe was about. That's what Jim Rohn was about. That's what Frank Petrocelli was about. That's my pedigree. That's my legacy. That's what I'm doing. And that's the message that is the road less taken, because most people won't be as interested in it as the secret to being the top recruiter in their MLM. But in the end, it is the secret to being the top recruiter in your MLM. And that's why I'm the #1 affiliate out of 110,000 people in a 9-year-old program. You don't get to do that. You don't get to be that of the top names in the industry by mistake. And it's not because I'm so great. It's because I was taught this information. So if you want those trainings, shoot me your name and your email address. I'll put you on the list, and I'm going to go write it, and I'll see y'all later. Everybody have a great night.